The San Diego VA is making it harder for local veterans to access mental health care during the COVID-19 pandemic. Therapists and veterans say the agency's actions are dangerous and irresponsible. Investigative reporter Brad Racino with CBS 8 partner Inewsource has the details.
April Coberly is a 37-year-old Navy veteran who suffers from PTSD and sexual trauma. She said she's always had a hard time getting good mental health care through the VA, but recently things have gotten worse.
I keep having to push to get what they promised, and it's exhausting.
Though a 2018 law guaranteed she and other veterans could go outside the VA system for health care when needed, she says the San Diego VA is making that difficult, if not impossible.
It's almost a full-time job to constantly try and make phone calls and contact the right people, and I know why a lot of people give up.
Coberly's therapist, Alexandra Lafer, is one of many clinicians who contract with the VA to treat veterans the federal agency can't accommodate. Over the last few months, Lafer says she's hit roadblock after roadblock with the agency trying to get approvals for treatments.
And at the end of the day, the people who are suffering are the veterans who we treat. And that's really what's most important here, is the fact that the veterans are not able to access the care that they need because nobody really knows how to maneuver the system.
Those interviewed told Inewsource at least 3 veterans have taken their lives over the agency's actions. And they worry that with the extra strain of COVID-19, things could get worse.
It's frankly frightening what's going to happen to veterans. It's dangerous and it's really scary.
Therapists like Wendy Belding say now is not the time for the VA's mental health care to falter.
Something's wrong. Something's really wrong.
We sent the San Diego VA a list of questions about the mental health care cuts. A spokesperson for the agency wouldn't answer any of them. Instead, he asked for the names of the veterans and therapists interviewed for this investigation. Coberly said the VA has a responsibility to those who've served to provide the care they need, especially now when the suicide rate, which was already high for veterans, is increasing with all the COVID-related stress.
You don't send a generation of war and be like, well, I'm done. Like, no, that's not okay.
Brad Racino with Inewsource joins us now. Brad, you said the VA refused to answer basic questions about why the stalling is happening here. Is there anything out there to keep them accountable for what seems like neglect on their part?
So on paper, there are elected officials who can put pressure on the VA, in particular members of the Senate and House committees, but in reality, for whatever reason, they're often hesitant to do that. One thing I have seen work in the past at other VAs across the country is overwhelming public pressure. So when people, not just veterans, but regular people, take the time to sit down, write an email, make a phone call to their elected officials and say, hey, this isn't how we are supposed to treat the men and women who've served our country. But with the San Diego VA, I honestly don't know how to hold them accountable other than through this kind of reporting. I've been writing about these problems there for more than 2 years, but time and again, they have refused to acknowledge any of those problems exist, and they refuse to change course.
This is upsetting. So what's next here? How can these veterans get some justice, or are you going to investigate the VA more, pursue this more? How much can you pursue this?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going. It's what we do. We do have a news story coming out tomorrow on this subject that I hope your viewers will check out. But one thing that you also will see from us going forward is a lot more first-person stories from veterans, because so many of the vets I've interviewed have told me how important it is to share their struggles and to hear from other veterans about their struggles, because mental health in the military is not something that's always openly discussed. So we're collecting those stories from vets and publishing them on our website, and not just for members of the military, but also for the general public to better understand what these men and women are going through after they leave service.
All right, powerful stuff there. Brad Racino from Inewsource. Thanks as always, Brad. And to hear more from veterans affected by this issue, along with therapists knowledgeable on the mental health toll, you can go to inewsource.org. Inewsource is an independently funded nonprofit partner of News 8.